if you're not taking risks, then you're not being ambitious enough, or you're not willing to learn enough. You know, film is relatively new in the history of art. Science and politics and, you know, our whole history has gone hand in hand with art constantly. Art has always had a hand in everything that's happened, and always wanted to do something in the arts. Always felt like that's what I'm meant to be doing. So film was the natural fit. It's like any artistic practice. When you actually treat it as an art form and try and continue it as an art form, you reach a lot of people with your art. And I think your art, and particularly film, is the best way to get messages across in the future, and, you know, to actually have an influence. I'm Thomas Davenport, and started making films a couple of months before I turned 19. I do literally try and treat every film I'm doing, I'm disappointed if I go on set somewhere and I don't learn something. I want to learn something, because then, you know, you're getting closer and closer to being able to achieve the really great films that you want to make. I wanted to write something short originally. I wanted to write something short I could do in like a couple of days, and but still have a bit of ambition about it. Still, you know, try and do something with it. Yeah, I've not done before, and people involved have not done before. Yeah. It was kind of like just a two-man crew between me and Jackson, and that was it really. Like, all the actors helped out whatever they could, and like the extras even, you know, and you know. But like in terms of the actual sort of roles of like doing lighting and cinematography and stuff, it was me and Jack. After the first day on set, we turned up. We thought we were just gonna do the whole script that day, and like 2 hours in, me and Jackson, who produced it with me and did lighting and everything, real key player in it, hiding downstairs going, oh no, not like, we had 20 extras with us at the time, you know, for a club, and you know, where you can't communicate to anyone. It was an absolute mess, but because we definitely learned. I went back the next day and changed a few things in the script, and everybody involved was so dedicated. Like, there was one point where it was, we came very close to the end of filming, and it was maybe a couple more nights we needed to do, and I said to Tio, had phoned me out, who plays Scarlett in it, and she said she was getting her hair done every day, over 5 months, each Monday it was. She phoned up saying, I'm really sorry, the woman's not available. And she was literally in tears on the phone, like, oh, I'm so sorry. And it was like, no, don't worry. It's great you're so passionate about it, and like, you want to work with those people, you know, because they want there's something extra from it, you know, even if it's something personal, yeah, they're getting from it, they want something extra from it. We had a lot of parts where it's almost, you can't see the background, and it's just a light here or a light there, and that was kind of important, because those moments were sort of the more intense moments. The title was always going to be Silhouette, because well, it wasn't. It was a placeholder for a long time, and then it just stuck. He's seeing everything that's going on, he's making his own assumptions in mind, and you know, he's just following it around. He's essentially a shadow stuck to the walls of the club, you know, and doesn't really get involved in anything, you know. He never comes into the light.
Okay, you walk in from there, okay? You go when you're ready. When you're ready.
The sort of environment we was in, it was hard to set up a shot like perfectly to get. So it was literally snatching at moments and going, right, we got the right light, and when we got that, and we didn't have it rented out or anything. Like, we couldn't cordon off an area, we couldn't, you know. It was a lot of it ended up becoming about time management. There was literally, I think, 4 months in between the balcony sequence of the first half and second half of it. Like, 4 months in between, because there was no other time to get that. Sound-wise, used Ben Farron and Ben Brown to do the score for it, because there was never ever going to be dialogue, because every character's got their sort of like own instrument in it. And like, it's like, so if Jackson's walking behind, then we'll have a bass just come like, and it's just, you know, you got that character, you know, you've got him. And yeah, I think music, especially music associated to characters, is something that's often overlooked, you know. There's a part where Tio gets pushed to the floor, and it was like metal grating where the floor was, and we said to her, like, she did it at first and she cut her knee a bit, and it was like, all right, don't worry about it, we'll sort of cut around it, you know, again. And she's like, no, I want to do it, sort of thing. So she went on she cut her knee up about 4 or 5 times, and that was a lovely bloody mess, and luckily that was the last part of that night. Sometimes I'm writing stuff and it just, there's that organicness to it where you're like, I know whereabouts it's going to end, I'm not sure exactly how it's going to do, but it feels like it's the ending's kind of developing as these characters are just going their natural sort of, you know, if you've set them up well, they sort of go into their natural position, and it's about you just manipulating their path a little bit. And yeah, sometimes I really like writing like that. And biggest thing learned, I think, was that you can be ambitious. You just have to sometimes split that ambition into different areas and not go full force with it straight away. The best thing about it was just the people, like, literally they all wanted something good to happen